My name is Aubrey Miller, and I am a Senior Transportation Program Manager at the Greater Portland Council of Governments, or GPCOG. The Transportation Division at GPCOG is referred to as the Portland Area Comprehensive Transportation System, or PACS, and I'm happy to present our PACS 2024 Year in Review. And this is a celebratory look back on some of the transportation highlights in the region from the past year. Projects that were funded, projects that were constructed, planning and policy efforts, and more. So we had a number of transformative investments in the region in 2024, starting with a couple of significant discretionary grants. Our region received a $25 million RAISE grant for improvements in Portland's East Deering neighborhood, and these include a lot of transportation safety improvements, construction of a shared use path bridge below Tukey's Bridge on 295, connecting East Deering with downtown Portland, safer crossings on Baxter Boulevard by the 295 on and off ramps to improve access between the Back Cove Trail and East Deering, a new off-ramp at Exit 8 to provide more direct access to the Rue campus. And in this slide, we have a couple of photos from when then U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg visited Maine and helped celebrate the grant this past summer. The region also received a $22.4 million Reconnecting Communities grant for improvements in Portland's Libbytown neighborhood. And this project was first funded by GPCOG and PACS several years ago through what was called our Complex Projects program. And it was one of our highest scoring projects that year. This project includes construction of a modern roundabout at the former Denny's and adjustments to the off-ramps to make them safer for all users, dedicated and separated bicycle facilities, converting Park Avenue and Congress Street to two-way traffic, and more. The region received $1 million in Safe Streets and Roads for All grant funding for several planning and demonstration projects, all throughout the region over several years. It includes safety analyses at 6 locations in Portland, South Portland, and Scarborough, a region-wide roundabout screening study, and 3 demonstration projects per year over 3 years, 2025, 2026, and 2027. And those are in Portland, South Portland, Scarborough, Saco, Biddeford, and Westbrook. Looking at transit, last year, $310,000 was allocated to Greater Portland Metro, South Portland Bus Service, and Biddeford Saco Old Orchard Beach Transit for the Transit Stop Access Project. And then in October, the South Portland City Council voted unanimously to merge South Portland's bus service with Metro, which took effect at the end of December 2024. 2 micro-transit projects pilots were launched. RTP, or Regional Transportation Program, launched Quick Ride in February, and it serves Windham, North Windham, and St. Joseph's College. And then Greater Portland Metro launched Metro Connect near the end of last year, and it serves East Falmouth. On the train, the Amtrak Downeaster experienced record ridership, serving nearly 600,000 passengers in fiscal year 24, and also celebrated a major milestone, its 10 millionth rider. The new Casco Bay Line's hybrid ferry is under construction, and Biddeford Saco Old Orchard Beach Transit made upgrades to bus stop signage and security systems, and now about 90% of its bus stops have signage. These next few slides primarily celebrate investments that PACS, again the Portland Area Comprehensive Transportation System, prioritized under our legacy funding programs, Complex Projects, which I mentioned briefly earlier, the PACS Municipal Partnership Initiative, or MPI, and Collector Paving. All of these funding programs have now sunset under a new Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, with Maine DOT, which I'll talk about a little later. But for now, on this slide, 13 multimodal projects received funding in 2024, a $9.3 million investment. And this list includes the 2 projects that are pictured on this slide, Exit 15 Park and Ride Connector Path in Yarmouth and Main Street Gateway in Saco. 4 projects under construction in 2024, a $1.4 million investment. Pictured on this slide is Preble Street in Portland, which is a PACS Municipal Partnership Initiative, or MPI, funded project. And we've got 19 projects coming up in 2025, a $10 million investment. So pictured on this slide is Main Street in Gorham, It's a pedestrian lighting project that was funded through PAC's Legacy Complex Projects program. And then we have 14 projects yet to come, a $65 million investment. And the one pictured on this slide is the Biddeford-Saco Multimodal Bridge, which is a PAC's complex project. And the vision for this project is a bicycle and pedestrian bridge across the Saco River, which will connect the Saco Transportation Center to the planned Pearl Street Riverfront District in Biddeford. And next I'll talk about some plans, policies, and programs. As I mentioned a couple slides back, PACS signed a new MOU, or Memorandum of Understanding, with Maine DOT in October of 2024. The whole process to get to signing of the MOU took a little bit more than a year, and it does represent a pretty significant shift in how we invest in our region. I mentioned before that our legacy funding programs, complex projects, collector paving, and PACS MPI, have sunset under this new MOU, but the MOU includes new funding programs as well. Listed here, the Urban Partnership Initiative and the Highway Corridor Priority 3 and 4 paving. PACS did submit projects for those programs in 2024. The major implications from the MOU are that it gives PACS more ownership over transportation investment decisions by involving PACS earlier in the development of Maine DOT's work plan and the Transportation Improvement Program. And it establishes a clearer link between PACS' long-range transportation plan and future projects selected for funding. So speaking of PAC's long-range transportation plan and its impact on future funding, we are in the process of updating our current plan, which is called Connect 2045, to become Connect 2050. And we put out a call for projects in the fall of 2024 and received about 125 applications by the December deadline. And the map on the slide shows that we received applications from all 4 PACS subregions, plus transit agencies and others. In future year in review presentations like this one, we hope to be able to provide information on the alignment between our region's long-range plan, Connect 2050, and Maine DOT's work plan, and the extent to which the work plan is implementing the priorities in Connect 2050. The region also adopted a new regional transit funding policy in November, which is another major milestone. And this policy means funding will now be awarded based on performance. So we'll use a data-driven, metrics-based process, and it should create clearer expectations for future funding as well. We have Vision Zero for rural and island communities, which was adopted in October. This is not a PACS plan. It's a plan for the rural and island communities outside the PACS region within GPCOG, but it's worth mentioning because it follows in the footsteps of PACS Vision Zero action plan. Initially, PACS led the way on Vision Zero with PACS funding, and then we received a federal grant that allowed us to build out the Vision Zero plan for the entire region. And so with the adoption of this plan, we have Vision Zero covering 30 cities and towns. Our Mobility for All program works to improve transportation access for people who experience barriers, and I've got a few highlights here. We held the second Ride With Me event at the beginning of 2024, and this event pairs people who experience transportation barriers with decision makers and sets them up to ride transit together so that decision makers can experience challenges firsthand, and it empowers those who experience the barriers to communicate directly with decision makers. We onboarded 7 new bus ambassadors, and Bus Ambassadors is a program that trains volunteers who speak multiple languages to help people with limited English proficiency learn how to use the transit system. At least 4 different non-English languages are represented among our 7 new bus ambassadors. We onboarded 9 new community transportation leaders, and this program trains people from underrepresented communities, including older adults, people with disabilities, and people of color, to participate in transportation planning and decision-making. And the 4th cohort of community transportation leaders presented their top transportation concerns and proposed solutions to the PAC's Regional Transportation Advisory Committee and Executive Board in December. And last on this slide is a $150,000 planning grant from the University of Minnesota's Mobility, Access, and Transportation Insecurity, or MATI program. It was awarded to Cumberland County in partnership with GPCOG to develop a free and discounted transit pass program and increased transportation access for people experiencing very low incomes. A couple of highlights on regional innovation and data. Our Regional Traffic Management System, or RTMS. In April, the PAC's Executive Board approved a $2.6 million commitment to traffic signal equipment upgrades. MyoVision, we collected 10 turning movement counts last year, and MyoVision counts is something that GPCOG offers for municipalities on a request basis. And not listed on the slide, but GPCOG also conducts drone aerials for communities upon request. We have 4 projects in the works right now, all with estimated completion dates by the end of 2025. First, the Regional Complete Streets Design Guidebook. This is a next step after developing our Complete Streets policy. The guidebook will help develop design standards for roadways in our region, identifying complete streets best practices for different street types. And next, reimagining Route 1. So this project will evaluate the Route 1 corridor from Biddeford to Freeport, developing a vision for the corridor that is more complete for all users, considering options for transit, electrification, housing, and mixed-use development. Next, the Regional Trail Plan. This plan will identify and prioritize projects needed to achieve an interconnected multi-use path and trail network, resulting in 7 to 10 conceptual plans for the highest priority projects in the region to get them ready for funding. And finally, Connect 2050. As I mentioned before, it's the update to our long-range transportation plan, which sets the strategic direction for how we want to improve our entire transportation network. And here's 2024 by the numbers. You can see that we accomplished a lot as a region in 2024. Transportation investments as well as plans and policies that will help shape the future of our transportation system. So thank you to the many people who had a role in shaping this work in 2024, and we look forward to all that's to come in 2025.